Here's an update on Venezuela, a moderately good one. Again, this is also available at radindiemedia.com. And if you regularly read radindiemedia.com, you would already know this. You'd be like, ha ha, I already knew it, douchebag. And I don't know why you'd be such a jerk like that. Why are you gonna do that? Don't do that. It's not cool. It's not cool, man. All right, so VenezuelaAnalysis.com. By the way, they do some of the best work on Venezuela, some of the best reporting. So they said, this is from their Twitter thread, and so it ends, not with a bang, but with a whimper. The hardline Venezuelan opposition will abandon its election boycotting stance and field candidates for November 21st regional elections. So I'll read more of those details in a second, but you guys know all about Juan Guaidó. Basically, the U.S. is trying to create a coup in Venezuela for being a socialist country. We can't stand that, and for having oil. But I feel like the main reason is they're socialist, and so that fucking drives us nuts because we just want to harm people whenever they're not doing the same thing as us. It'd be like if you were into a new shirt style and anyone you saw walking down the street who was wearing like the old shirt style, you just stabbed them. That's what we do. But anyway. Venezuela, U.S. trying to create a coup in Venezuela. Juan Guaidó announces he's president of Venezuela without a single vote ever being cast for him as president. Nicolas Maduro elected. Their elections are more legit than our elections. Elected president of Venezuela. Whether you like him, you can dislike things Maduro does. You can be like, I really didn't like this decision he made, or I didn't like this economic thing he did. That's fine. He's still the elected president. Just like name a president of the United States you've agreed with everything they've done. I couldn't name a president of the United States who agreed with anything they've done, but maybe something. Maybe I'd find one or two things. I know. JFK was working to create peace with Russia, with the Soviet Union. So I liked that. Oh, but that didn't turn out well for him a few days later. Anyway, Nicolas Maduro, elected president. Juan Guaidó, this guy who looks like a frat douchebag and is a frat douchebag, went to college at Georgetown in the United States, studying economics under a pro-oil oligarchy economist. Juan Guaidó announces himself president without any votes ever being cast for Juan Guaidó. The United States then says, oh yeah, he's president, not the actual president. Then the United States pressures 50 other countries to also acknowledge that Juan Guaidó is president without, again, never a vote has been cast for him as president. And then even Wikipedia, which is turning into a liberal trash heap, they have an ongoing battle as to who is president. Wikipedia will say it's Maduro, then say it's Guaidó, then say it's Maduro, then say it's Guaidó, because Wikipedia is a neoliberal shitfest. So then Guaidó keeps trying to create a coup in Venezuela, and it never works. The army never joins him. It never works. Eventually, you're down to like 18 countries that still acknowledge Guaidó as the president. Maybe it's even fewer than that now, because most of the countries realize, like, we can't operate like this. If we ever want to give a visa or have anyone from Venezuela in our country, it doesn't work if you say, oh, no, the president who's never been in the presidential palace, office or whatever, has never done a thing as president. That's it fucks up the whole governmental structure to do that. This ridiculous coup. So during this whole time, part of what was going on is that the opposition, which Juan Guaidó is in one party of, was refusing, most of them were refusing to be in the elections. They were boycotting them so that the United States could say the elections aren't legit. Because, like, if you get the opposition parties all to boycott, then Nicolas Maduro wins all the votes, and you can say, look, it's not legit. But unfortunately, the United States was not able to get all of the opposition not to run. So Maduro just got most of the votes. He didn't get all of them. And the United States still said, oh, look, it's not legit, even though it was very clear he beat the opposition parties. But now the opposition parties have decided they are done boycotting. After days of rumors and leaks, which surely reflected backdoor trouble and backstabbing, old opposition fox Henry Ramos Alep, held a press conference today to announce that the self-styled Big Four parties are running in the upcoming gubernatorial and mayoral contests. Interestingly and unsurprisingly, Ramos Alep said that the decision to run in elections had Washington's blessing. These people, these like puppets, have to go to Washington, D.C. and get approval for their election. Like, does anything more show that you're a puppet than that you have to consult with Washington, D.C. as to whether you run in the election in Venezuela? Remember January 2016 when he said the opposition would overthrow the Maduro government in 6 months? How did that work out? Question mark. These anti-government sectors will run on the recently dusted off MUD ticket. Problem is, other opposition sectors who were not so busy plotting coups already announced their candidates. Will they be able to agree on a single candidate to challenge the government? Remains to be seen. Meanwhile, expect increasingly diluted nonsense from self-proclaimed President Juan Guaidó. He is not president. He just says he is. As he tries to paint the fact that he only gotten 5 inches closer to the presidential palace in 2.5 years of attempted coups as some sort of victory. Of course, corporate outlets did not get the memo, and thus this self-proclaimed moron is in a $10,000 suit, still gets featured by the mainstream media. The Guardian, Reuters, shit like that. They still like to pretend that he's president. Case in point is this recent puff piece by AFP, that's a French news service, featuring the opposition figure and allowing him to initiate the Guaido challenge. Guaido said, quote, "I challenge Maduro to leave power and I'll abandon the interim government." And then Venezuela analysis says, there you go, gents, ladies and gents. Guaido challenges Maduro to leave his meaningful elected office, and in exchange, he'll leave his made-up one. In the spirit of the Guaido challenge, we challenge the U.S. to get rid of its nuclear arsenal, and in exchange, we'll put down this very sharp kitchen knife. So, I mean, that's how hilarious Juan Guaido is. He's really... And by the way, it's not that long ago, 1 year ago, a little over a year ago, Donald Trump gave a State of the Union, had Juan Guaido there, and Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump called him the president of Venezuela and gave him a standing ovation together. Trump and Nancy Pelosi applauding a made-up president of Venezuela together. That shows they are both pieces of shit, right? I mean, there weren't many things that had them high-fiving together, but that was one of them. So that's what's going on in Venezuela. Very good news for Venezuela that, Juan Guaido continues to be marginalized. I mean, it's really meaningless what he's doing now. By the way, please go over and become a member at rockfin.com/Lee Camp, ROKFIN.com/Lee Camp. You'll get all my premium content. You'll get all everybody else's premium content. It's like $10 a month. So, for all these people who've been doing amazing donations, you could go join very easily at rockfin.com/Lee Camp. And yeah, like I said, you get everybody's content. And I'm moving away from YouTube. So I will be many of these like longer live streams and things like that. They will just live at Rockfin. All right, guys, keep fighting.